Today is Saturday, December 3rd, day 2 of hormone replacement therapy. This is the magic. I got 3 months of spironolactone. This is testosterone blocker. And then this, I got 3 months of estradiol, which is estrogen. Alright, I will check back in with you tonight to see how, things go and to take my second dose. Alright? Bye. Okay. I don't know where I'm going with this video. I didn't write a script, but hopefully something good comes out of this. I've been getting a lot of DMs and comments recently talking about my transition, and I'm very happy about that because I opened my DMs up. I've said that I will respond because I wanted to help anybody that I can. And after talking to a few people on a one-on-one level, I realized it may be beneficial if I sit down and do this. So I want to talk to you about things that I wish I would have known, or things that I wish someone would have told me before I started my transition. So I just want to have a quick chat. It may not be quick. I just want to talk and in full transparency, let you know all of the good stuff, all of the bad stuff, all of the everything that I wish someone would have told me before I started. For context, I apologize if it's hot in here and I don't want my air conditioner to scare you, or I hope you can hear me on everything. I hope you can hear me. Hi, my name is Jordan. I'm a binary trans woman. I started my social transition May 1st, 2020, and I started my medical transition December 2nd, 2022. Yes, those are two separate things, and we'll talk about both of those. Oh my God, there is so much to talk about in this. Oh, give me the strength. Okay, the very first thing that I want to say, like the most important thing, like if you take nothing else from this conversation, the most important thing that I want to make sure that you understand is that this is a journey, not a race. I remember when I first started, I felt the pressure I have to like look like this. Like I gotta get it together yesterday. Okay, I'm coming out, I'm trans, Beyonce. And part of the reason that I felt like that was because there was a male in my life at the time that was like pushing me in that direction. He was like, you could be moving faster. You could be, if you're gonna be trans better, be trans faster, be trans, right? And I wasn't comfortable. You are in competition with nobody. You don't have to look like anybody. You don't have to go and get any surgery you don't want to get. And it is completely up to you what you do and don't do. I think that it's important to make sure that you give yourself grace because this is a brand new world that you're stepping into. And I'm sure you've watched videos, you've done your due diligence, but watching someone else do it and then you doing it, two totally different things. It's not a journey. It's not a race, it's a journey, and it's yours alone. I think socially transitioning first is so important because aspects of your medical transition are permanent. I see a lot of girls now rushing to go get on hormones or rushing to go and get work done really fast to give an aesthetic. There are also a lot of people that are running into this to transition and not really knowing what they're getting into. I think socially transitioning is so important, not only because you get to learn what it means to be a woman in society or like socially, but also it gives you the opportunity to figure out who is the new version of you gonna be. And that is so important. I would hate for you to come out and then run and go get these big, like, you know what I'm saying? And then after you sit down and settle, you're like, the surgeries that you got made you dysphoric. I've seen a lot of people detransition And I've seen a lot of videos of people saying how they thought transitioning was going to be a one-all, fix-all to their problems, and it wasn't. Make sure that this is what you want to do, because there are certain things that you're going to do to yourself that are permanent and you cannot come back from. You're going to have to develop some thick skin, sweetie. With the popularization of transgender in the media, there's going to be a lot of people telling you what you should look like, what you should sound like, what you should act like. And if you don't have a strong sense of self, you're going to wake up one day and not recognize who you are. Take it as slow as you can, honestly. I like I said, there were 2 years before I even touched a hormone, you know? Okay, so we've talked about this is your journey. Don't let anybody rush you. You can take it as slow as you need to take it to make sure you're comfortable, because this shit is permanent. Because we just talked about permanency, I want to jump to the medical side of things, and then we'll come back to socially transitioning. They help. They do help. But there's so much to be unpacked about the conversation about HRT. Please do not let any of these girls online bully you into getting on hormones if that's not what you want to do. And it's important that you know that there are effects of taking hormone replacement therapy that are irreversible. The production of breast tissue is irreversible. If I were to wake up one day and decide, I'm not trans anymore, I would have to get my breasts surgically removed. There's a possibility taking this that you'll become infertile. It doesn't happen for everybody, but depending on your genetics and your personal situation and how long you take the meds, you will stop producing sperm. And needless to say, if you have sexual reassignment surgery, there is no you can reverse it, but it's not going to be what it was before you got it reversed. People will make you feel like, oh, if you don't have SRS, then you're not real. And it's like, well, then call me fake, because hey, it's permanent. You better think about it. You better make sure your heart is right before you go lay on that table. Something else I don't see people talk about, you could die or have major complications. And there are girls online that are talking about that they've gotten it done and it closed. They had to go get it done again. The reason why is because your body is identifying that as a wound that's not supposed to be there. So it's trying to make it close. If you've ever gotten your ear pierced or your nose or your belly, if you've ever gotten anything pierced, they tell you don't take the jewelry out because the jewelry keeps it open. Your body is like, oh no, there's a hole in my body that's not supposed to be there. I have to close it. So that's just something to keep in mind. You fuck around and get that if you want to, and then this ain't right for you. It's also expensive. I mean, some people's insurance covers it, but like that's a very expensive surgery. I don't know how much, but thousands of dollars, like tens of thousands of dollars. Let's start there. And then it's not just some magical turn you into a girl surgery. Like, I mean, I guess it is if that's what people like, if that's what you look at it as. But for male to female, when you get SRS, you have to go through this process called dilation. Now, what dilation is, going back to that piercing metaphor that I gave you, it's essentially you having to put something in your neo-vagina to keep it open because that your body identifies that as a wound. I've seen girls talk about how painful it is, how much it hurts, how uncomfortable it is, how time-consuming it is. And something else that you should know is that if you do that, you're going to have to dilate in some form, shape, or fashion for the rest of your life. So for example, it's like, and again, I don't have it, so you can look at, I believe her name is like Princess Jules. I used to watch her videos when I was in high school. She's talked about it. There's a Zaya, I can't think of her name. She's a really popular TikToker. She's had it and she talks about it a little bit. So if you don't, I'm just giving you the concept. Don't fact check me, right? But when you leave the hospital, they're going to give you like 4, right? And like medical grade dilators. And it's just this hard piece of plastic that you have to put inside of your body to keep your neo-vagina from closing. and I've heard that they're cold, they're plastic, they're hard, like it's uncomfortable. And I learned from like Princess Jules's video, like after a certain point, like after a year or something, like if there are no complications or whatever, you can like the frequency in which you have to do it stops, but you still have to put something up there eventually, or there's a possibility it could close. And there's just so much. There's like, I've seen people talk about like they got it done and they lost sensation down there. They don't feel anything. Please do your research. You better ask somebody. You better ask somebody. But on the flip side of that, I want to say, going back to that point I made earlier, I was like, don't let anyone pressure you into anything that you don't want to do. Don't let people make you have bottom dysphoria if you don't have it. I remember when I first started, I had so many, like my head was so cloudy. I was like, oh, I gotta do this. Like I need to do this. This is something, like if I don't do this, I'm not real. And this is why I said that social transitioning is so important. Over the course of my social transition, I went on a self-love journey, a self-discovery, all kind of stuff. Like I like everything. And whereas May 1st, 2020, I started this thinking SRS was my end goal. Here I am, September 2024, and I'm like, girl, you couldn't pay me to get SRS. No. But that comes with, like I said, self-love journey, self-reflection, self-whatever. And I really want to stress, HRT is not a end-all, be-all, fix-it solution to all of your problems. If you don't love yourself, you're not gonna love yourself once you start your transition. You may feel a little bit better about yourself because you look better or you whatever. But if there are fundamental issues that you need help with, especially mental health issues, popping these pills is not going to fix that. They're just going to change the way you look and a little bit the way that you think. So please, 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 don't go into this thinking this is going to solve all of my problems. Because it might not. And like I said, I've seen so many detransitioners talking about, oh, I didn't know. That's why I'm trying to make the video, to give my 2 cents. Yeah, 2 more things when I cover on the medical side of things. HRT does not affect your voice, male to female. I know you'll see old, like if you watch old videos of me, I had a little bit more bass in my voice. That's just vocal training. And I honestly, someone asked me to make a video on voice training. I'm gonna try. If I'm being honest with you, I did it subconsciously. Like it's like the more feminine I begin to present, the higher that the pitch became, so that I would not get beat up in public. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm gonna try. But if anybody tells you, oh, if you take these pills and your voice is gonna become lighter, that's not true. The pills do not do that to you. And the reason being is because as a male, when you go through puberty, your vocal cords thicken. And that's why your voice drops. So testosterone, female to male, their voice will change. I love watching this is day 1 on T, day 10 on T, 10 months on T. You know, I love seeing those. But for us, it's not a thing. If you want your voice to be higher, you're going to have to train it. But also, don't let anyone voice shame you. If your voice is deep and you can't do anything about it, there's a surgery. It's something where like they shave down like your trachea or like your Adam's apple or something like that. Again, be careful because it's permanent. It is permanent. So just get your heart right and think long and hard about what you're doing, and make sure that whatever you do medically, you do it for you. Because if I would have let people dictate what it means for me to be a trans woman, I would have gotten my breast done by now, and I didn't need it. I would have had a BBL. I would have had SR. I'd have had a whole lot of stuff done and pumped to my body that here I am 4 years later, I don't even want those things anymore. And especially like you really, really young girls that are doing it, just like 17, 18, your body isn't even fully done developing yet. Like, I understand like facial feminization surgery and like filler and all these things, your face isn't even done growing yet. So like, you do whatever you want to because you're a legal adult at the age of 18 in America, but just don't do it too fast. I just don't want you to regret anything. You might lose a lot of friends. And the crazy thing is, not even for the reason that you think you might lose them. I lost some people around me when I came out because of transphobia, of course. People don't like it. Oh, that shit is unnatural. It's not normal. It's weird. I experienced some of that. But specifically with my male friends, something that I've never really seen talked about, I lost a few male friends when I came out because they started acting weird. And when I mean weird, I don't mean like, oh, I'm gonna beat you up. Da, 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 da. I had a couple of buddies hit on me and it made our friendship uncomfortable. There was this one guy I was friends with and he traumatized me. Oh my God. I remember him telling me once, he was like, I don't know, I wasn't attracted to you and then you started doing this and I became attracted to you. I wish somebody would have told me beforehand that starting my transition would ruin some friendships, and it wouldn't always be because of transphobia. Sometimes there are people around you that will turn you into a fetish, and it's really gross, and it really hurt my feelings because I miss some of my friends sometimes, and so just keep that in mind. While yes, there's a potential for you to lose some friendships or some familiar relationships, some whatever, because of transphobia, there's also the possibility that there are people around you that will turn you into a fetish. And speaking of being a fetish, I wish someone would have told me how difficult dating is as a trans woman specifically because you're seen as a fetish. I'll put it like this. I remember I downloaded like Bumble or something, and literally it was the first thing in my bio. Trans woman is the first thing I said. I had like 1,400 likes, but 1,400 people that wanted to talk to me, but it was because they wanted to sleep with me or they wanted me to do things to them, and it was like, I wish somebody would have told me that there's a lot of people on this earth that will not view you as a person anymore. There are some people that are going to look at you as subhuman and unnatural and gross and some sort of weird something or another. There are also people on the planet that are going to look at you as like some sort of like sexually promiscuous, like some sort of freak, especially if you like men. I don't know what it's like for the girls that like girls, or for the T for T relationships. It's not my experience. But for the trans girls that like cis men, this is gonna be real hard. There's so many layers to why dating is hard. It's like, you have to, first of all, make sure this person does not look at you as a fetish. And then, once like we've covered that base, is this person even comfortable being seen with you in public? And once we've covered that, then we have to look at the basic stuff. Like, are you emotionally intelligent? Are you abusive? Are you all of these things? And once you look at that, then you have to look at, am I even attracted to you? Do we even have stuff in common? There are so many extra boxes that have to be checked when dating as a trans person, and it can make the process seem almost unattainable. That's something to keep in mind. If you thinking, oh, I'm finna transition so I can get the boys, yeah, you'll get some boys. But it may not be the guys you're thinking of. It may be the ones with 1,000 bottles of baby oil. This one is something that I realized like 3 or 4 days ago. You can't make people be okay with your transition. I'm specifically talking about family in this one. And it's important to note that while you can't make someone love and accept the journey that you're going on, it's also okay, like, they're entitled to that. And I know that may come across like what do you mean? Like, no one should disrespect you. No one should call you out of your name or treat you poorly. But my parents have taught me that I don't have to agree with you. And that was a hard pill to swallow. Because for me, this is not a big deal. This is who I've always wanted to be. I have literal diary entries that prove it. I'm like, this is what I've wanted for almost a decade, at least, right? And so to me, it's normal because I've been planning this since I was a teenager, you know. But for my parents, it it's not that. And I remember being so angry when I first started my transition. Like, why can't you guys just, like, whatever? You cannot control other people, and you cannot make people accept your journey. And honestly, life will be a lot easier for you once you accept that. But don't be angry. I would say don't build resentment towards them, especially if there's no like abuse or neglect. Now, if your parents or if someone is abusing you or causing you harm or something, then you do and feel however you need to do and feel to be safe. But like in my specific situation, my parents, it's just like we don't accept this. We will never accept this. And like I said, when I was a little younger, I was angry. But now it's just like they're entitled to its level of acceptance and surrenderance. I would say they're entitled to their feelings about how I look and show up in the world, just like everyone else. That's the big thing, is that you can't make people look at this as normal because it's normal to us. It's not normal to them. I'm like scrambling my brain. I'm like, ugh, while I have you here, let me tell you everything I know. But I think that's it at this point. I'm searching for something like another nugget to give you. And maybe this doesn't have to be a one and done conversation. If I think of other stuff that I think could be helpful to you in any kind of way, I can always call you back. We can just say this is things that I wish I knew before I started my transition, part 1. As always, I am available. It may take me a minute to see it, but if you have a question, if you just want someone to talk to, or you need some advice, I will do the best that I can to help you, or I can point you in the direction of a source that I trust. DM me on Instagram. I'll put my Instagram right here. You can always drop a comment, or I've seen people have DM'd me on TikTok, whatever, to get in contact, ask questions. I'll help. I just want your journey to be everything that you want it to be. Okay, I guess I'll let you go. Peace and love, you guys.